coming in, but can Pristini win the 2? No. He does. That's 3 straight.
He's trying to get out there. He challenged and he wins it.
Behind him, Classic. Trying to line him up. Trying to line him up in the final.
Looking to find a few more gunners. Absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them.
249, 249, Seattle won!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment we've all been waiting for.
Very, very close.
Here it comes.
Where has it been, Joe? Oh my God.
Play, letting rock or no. Unbelievable. They got it. They got it. What was that ending?
There's the hype.
Welcome to the COD League. Back at it again in the CDL.
He takes another. Oh, he loses it. He loses it.
Oh my God, it's a massacre.
Clutch up in a big way.
And they are letting them know across the stage.
What just happened? Are you kidding?
The major is around the corner. It is going to be one hell of a tournament. You do not want to miss it. Atlanta FaZe are your major 1 champions. They're flawless. The greatest underdog going into the tournament. They take the best team in the league the whole way. They truly are ultra as their 2nd win on the year. The Major 3 champs. It is Atlanta FaZe. I can't wait, man. This is going to be a blast.
Ready to rock and roll.
It's madness!
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the victors.
This is the COD League.
Welcome to day 2 of Major 4. The action has returned to the stage and the excitement can be felt as the competitors square off against one another in person. We have our first 2 teams of the day heading over to their warm-up areas, getting themselves ready to play on the main stage in mere moments to come. You can see right now the Surge guys, they're walking down the hallway. We got Scraps from Paris Legion also making his way, getting ready for that stage game. Now we do have our bracket right now, and this is where it stands after day 1. Surge, LAG, Empire and Rocker all advanced after getting the dubs, and then Optic and Subliners await their opponents as both were swept, sending them to the elimination bracket. Well, welcome into our CDL HQ presented by USAA. It's a major, so of course we go 3 wide yet again with my boys Study and Nameless. Welcome to the desk, everybody. Now guys, we are moments away from our first match with obviously Surge and Legion, but before we get into it, I want to talk about one team that really stood out to us day 1 of LAN, and that's of course is Dallas Empire. Now Empire really came out with the fire. They came out playing. They were frying all over the stage.
Yep.
I need to ask you guys right now, with their matchup, what do you think Empire really need to do to really bring it to Ultra, to really take that W?
Yeah, well, I mean, Dallas Empire looked way better yesterday. They actually played Ultra a couple of weeks ago, but it was a different Dallas Empire. They got 3-0'd, and the SMGs on Toronto Ultra went off. Kleenex had a 1.55, Bance with a 1.23. They were just lighting them up, and Shotzi and Vivid didn't have the best series. These guys were not an answer to them, but since then, the good news for the Empire fans out there is they have gotten way better. I mean, Shotzi's went on a tear since that match. He performed throughout groups, and he played great yesterday. And then Vivid, his debut on LAN with this squad, he led the team in damage. He was frying with that SMG. So these 2 guys, they need to meet the pressure of the SMGs on the opposition, and you'll get better games out of players like Krim and Illy. So heavy emphasis on Vivid and Shotzi in this match. They need to do what they did yesterday and bring it into this match, because this is a tougher opponent.
Yeah, just to mimic what Nameless said, I'm right there with you, my friend. I think Vivid and Shotzi are the key to the success for the Dallas Empire in this series because of how dominant they were versus Optic yesterday. Both guys are sitting at a 1.3, But you have to keep in mind of the submachine guns on the opposite side for Toronto. They are so annoying to play against. So you're going to have to try to slow those players down to open up those lanes for your assault rifle players. Like yesterday, what they did so well was just pushing out lanes, being super aggressive, which allowed Illy to just have a great series. He was sitting at a 1.27 on the series yesterday. And when your SMGs are playing like that, if they can slow down the pressure of Kleenex and Bance, I feel like Illy will have a big game and really step up for Dallas Empire. I feel like that's the key to success for them.
Well, I tell you what, regardless, I think this is going to be an absolute banger, folks. Just based on the way Empire were playing yesterday, I'm excited to see Ultra and what they can do. But I think this is going to be a pretty decent game to watch. I'm very excited.
Hopefully.
Now, we do have a rematch on our hands, guys. So we have FaZe versus Rocker. Now, FaZe obviously has been a cut above all the rest all season long. Just pure dominance out of them and working on very fine little pieces to improve their game. And Rocker really have been fighting to be up there with the elite teams. They've been fighting to kind of be a contender here. And obviously, after facing FaZe the other day, they were up there with the competition. Granted, they didn't win 3-1, but they looked pretty damn good trying to face them. I want to know what Rocker has to do right now to show that they belong in the top 4. What do you think, Nameless?
I mean, we talked about this in the pregame before that match last time. We were like, what does Rocker have to do to show us that they can contend and be a top 4 team? And we were like, they just have to play them close. Well, they did just that. So this time, I think Rocker have an opportunity to beat FaZe. I mean, you look at the match they had there, it was really the hard points where, you know, they got super close to winning, and then it was just one moment at the very end of games where they were throwing it away. And specifically on that Garrison hard point, they had the advantage. They had a miraculous comeback. They were set up on P2, and they let a player get around the back who won the gunfight against Major Maniac, and they got inside and they lost that map. It's just one mistake. So on an individual level, obviously Major Maniac on both the hardpoints didn't have the best series. Yesterday, he had a phenomenal bounce back, especially on that map one where he was able to turn it around. So I'm looking for him to step up, but also on a team level, it's just the final moments. You know that FaZe is going to be going for that pinch. Just got to set up, get that kill, and execute. You have to be flawless to beat FaZe. Rocker have it in him. We'll see if they can do it today.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I think in order for Rocker to show that they are a top 4 team, they have to fix those little mistakes. Because we wanted them to play Atlanta FaZe close in the last series, but now you're on land. And just watching them yesterday, they look a lot more confident. You had Standy, who sat at a 1.4 in the series, and Priesta, who was at a 1.2. Dropped 11 in the search and destroy, picked up streaks. The guys were just going off. But you're going up against the best team in the game. This is where you need an entire full team effort. So I'm looking at Major Maniac, and I'm looking at Attach to really answer that call and really step up to the plate, because when you're playing the best, you have to be at your best. In order for that to happen, you're going to need those 2 players to step up.
Well, let's just hope their communications can keep on track, because Priesta said yesterday to Jess that honestly it comes down to communication for them, and if their comms are on point, they're on point. So hopefully they can get that together, and hopefully they can play the best of that they possibly can, because when you come against FaZe, you're going to need to produce the goods. We all know that. FaZe are pretty damn incredible, so Rocker have to be up there. But if you are a Rocker fan, listen to what Nameless just said. He thinks they have it in them. That's something to grip onto for sure. Well, boys, it is time to step it up on the desk right now and make some picks. And I need to ask you about underdogs, because yesterday it seemed like all 4 of our underdogs took the W. And I want to know who you think, out of the underdogs coming to today, who is going to win? What we saying, Nameless?
I'm going to go with Seattle Surge. I mean, even if you can call them an underdog after what they did yesterday, I mean, they were lights out. Octane, this guy was frying. The Krig is so good on land if you hit your shots clean. And who has one of the best shots in the history of Call of Duty? Well, it is Octane. They have one of the best AR duos in the game. Their 1-2 punch of Gunless and Octane with those ARs is just phenomenal. So I'm picking them to take this series. They look like a brand new team. There's new life in there. And if you can get the subs going, I mean, you get Prestigian Classic to start to get activated, then they become that much better, and they can make an even longer run. So I like their chances.
Yeah, I'm also going to say Seattle, man. It's really hard to not pick these guys because of the way that they played yesterday versus London. They ended up coming out and just dominating both hardpoints, winning both by 100+. Octane having an insane series, 1.73, positive 40 throughout the entire thing. The guy was just going off. And this is why he lives up to that name, that human turret, is because when he gets to land, this is what he does best, is pick up kills when you think he's not in a situation to pick up those kills. He does it up close and personal with that assault rifle, so it's really hard to just keep track of him. But just the way that they played, man, the way that they played those hard points is great. But them winning controls recently on the 3-game win spree in that game mode, their respawns have just completely flipped the switch. So I feel like they should be able to take it today.
Sorry if you can hear my dogs in the background getting very Larry right now. They're very excited
hyped,
about land. They are very excited. They're watching actually the stream downstairs, and they're big Surge fans. Big Surge fans. Well, I tell you what. I know that you think Surge might not look like the underdog right now. Oh, hi, Nebula. Nebula's also making a debut on the desk right now. She's also a big Surge fan as well. I tell you what, guys, Surge fans, like, they're not playing like underdogs right now, just like Nameless said. So I'm very excited to see where the Seattle team can go. I tell you what though, folks, if you want to know where we're heading to today, here is our schedule presented by the US Army. Let's take a quick peek right now at what we have coming your way. Starting things off, we do have Paris Legion taking on Seattle Surge, first game of the day on the main stage. Florida Mutineers take on LAG, and then we have Toronto Ultra versus Dallas Empire, a big banger just in the middle of your day to keep you interested, of course. And then Atlanta FaZe versus Minnesota Rocket, the rematch we all want to see. Can Rocket do it this time? Can they close out those very close hard points? We'll have to wait and see. I'll tell you what though, folks, a little bit of a surprise for you guys. We have Jess on standby right now with Seattle's coach, Joey Nubsy. Let's find out what he has to say about his team going into battle once again.
Thanks so much, Lottie. So that was such a great showing against London yesterday. What do you think was the biggest lesson that your team learned from that series?
We're back. We're back. Like the confidence we had going into that series, not even based on the matchup or anything or who we were playing. It was just the idea that we're all together. This is the first time all year we're one of the teams that play from different separate locations. So just everyone being there, being able to just have those fist bumps between maps, between rounds and S&D, it just felt so good. And the environment, just like I said yesterday, the environment just suits us so well, and the maps too. We're looking real good. So we really enjoyed that series yesterday, and we're just excited for this one.
I love that confidence, and I can even tell in your demeanor, you're excited, you're glad to be back here on land. So next up, you're going to be facing Paris, and we heard from Gunless yesterday, your guys know what they're doing, they know what they need to do, but what is it that as a coach you would really like to see out of your team in order to drown Paris out?
Our matchup against them, the last match of this league split online, we had a pretty comfortable map set against them. We felt really confident going in, but our hardpoint just looked pretty rough, which happens. You go day to day. Sometimes online, your hardpoint's not looking solid. Same with S&D control, especially for us. But it was a really rough series. But I think we're going to come in and have relatively similar maps again, maybe even the exact same ones, and we're just confident beyond belief. I've said it a million times. If you guys saw me on stage yesterday, I was very animated, very excited. It's an environment we all thrive in, and we're going in with the same confidence. We just want to start this losers run, and we know that it really starts with this match to really start the bracket.
All right, well, thank you so much. We'll look forward to watching that losers run. Back over to you, Lottie.
Well, that smile from Nubsy says it all. And that's what winning will do to you, folks. Paris versus Seattle, elimination game coming to you guys right after the break.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to day 2 of the Stage 4 Major. There you see the Seattle Surge and Paris Legion preparing for the battle on the stage. It will be an elimination game. Loser, you're going home. Winner, you get the chance to play in top 8. And speaking of what these placements mean, it's all about the cash that also exists on the line. A $500,000 prize pool. Unbelievable to think about. Of course, if you're going to walk away in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever it really may be, not walking away with any cash, unfortunately. So loser of this game, not walking away with any money. Winner, you get a chance to Continue to count the commas, as we like to say, but we join you once more from the beautiful Esports Stadium here in Arlington, Texas. Looks absolutely beautiful. And as we said, Paris Legion taking on the Seattle Surge is going to be a great way to start off day 2. Lato Study guiding you guys through our first 2 matches. And buddy, we got another elimination game, another chance to check out the Seattle Surge team now versus a very worthy opponent in the Legion.
Yeah, so this is going to be a great match, man. Yesterday, Seattle, they showed us a brand new form. Watching Octane yesterday, that was like watching poetry in motion. The guy just wasn't missing, putting up in some insane stats. But the only thing is, now he's going up against a team that they previously played at the end of Stage 4, where Paris were able to walk away with a 3-1. So I thought today that we were going to see a lot of the same match because obviously Paris beat them in that 3-1, so you want to keep them a little bit more confident there. But they probably watched Seattle yesterday on that Apocalypse, and they were like, not going to let that one sneak through today.
They very well may have seen, Octane just dropping a nice little, like, what was it, 1.7 something? It was absolutely unbelievable.
Insane.
But kind of on topic with Seattle, we got to talk about this team. Coach Nubsy coming into this game, we talked about it and said, hey, we very well might in fact be back. Let's go ahead and meet the roster, though, the Seattle Surge. Fire coming in, but can Pristini win the 2? No. He does. That's 3 straight.
So he's trying to get out there. He challenges and he wins it. Behind a classic. Trying to line him up. In the final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunless absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them.
249. Seattle won.
And there is your Seattle Surge as they enter the stage once more. Again, Study, it was a major victory for this team yesterday. It felt like a team W in the 3-1 win versus the London Royal Ravens. You see the guys once more getting hyped. Nubsy, okay, nice little pose. You see, they're very confident on that stage, Stud. Feels like home, huh?
Yeah, it's a bunch of vets up there, man. This is exactly what they live for, man, to get back on that main stage and put on a show for the people watching at home, man. And just watching them yesterday, you can just tell. Obviously, Octane had an insane series, but Gunless also played really well. Pristini stepped up tremendously in the respawns. So just watching this team, their respawns is looking good, but the only thing that really scares me is their S&D.
Right.
They need to get that in form if they want to go deep into this tournament.
Yeah, what's the record in S&D right now? Is it 1-7, I want to say? Something like that?
Yeah, like 1-7 throughout Stage 4. It just hasn't been good. And they've been playing a lot close. Like in these Search and Destroys, losing 6-4, losing 6-5, a couple round 11s, but they just have to get that closing feature, man. They need to start winning Search and Destroys if they want to go deep.
Yeah, well, we talked about one team that has struggled in the Search and Destroy department, that being the Seattle Surge. However, the team that sits on the other side, now across the stage for them, they've been great in Search and Destroy. In fact, throughout Stage 4, many teams talked countlessly about this roster, how they were not difficult to take down. Let's go and meet the team that now plays their first game on land for Stage 4 Major. It's the Paris Legion.
Wonderful start here for Paris Legion. Paris Legion just about pushed that player off the hard point.
Can they clutch up and go big?
Classic just being aggressive in the plane.
Fire's got to get on the bomb, and he will. He finds the kill.
Unbelievable stuff.
Awkward from the back end, able to pick up 3 along the way.
Paris Legions.
What a round.
Paris Legion get the chance to walk across the stage here for the very first time. And just a little bit delayed. There we go. Maybe just, a little bit delayed, but it's all good. They're here. It's day 2. But no, anyway, Stud, like I said, this team goes 2-3 throughout Stage 4, and a win today for this team would give them a top 8 finish at the Major. That would be their best Major placement of the entire season, as they have yet to break that top 10.
Yeah, this team has struggled all year, but I feel like this is the best core roster that they have had and that they have formed. Adding Temp to this roster, picking up a player like Zaptius, who's tremendous in the respawns, at least doing all the dirty work, but his game is really that search and destroy. And watching this team so far, ever since picking up that young man, they're sitting at 4-1 in that game mode, so that is going to be huge for them. You know, the player that Temp is starting to become with that assault rifle, who's starting to become a lot more confident, getting a little more streaky, helping in that slaying department, and you know what Scraps and Aqua are able to do. That duo, ever since the start of this game, have always just been putting up the numbers, and just watching them continue to develop that form is going to be great to see. But let's just jump into the keys to victory for the Paris Legion. They need to keep up that newfound streak in Search and Destroy. 4-1, like we said, throughout Stage 4. With Zaptius on this team, they've really found their footing. The guy is just a playmaker with the submachine gun. He's not afraid to take risks, and that's why their search and destroy has been looking great throughout Stage 4. AR is much slowed down Octane. Last time they played Surge, Scraps and Aqua played great in Hardpoints. I'm pretty sure Scraps is sitting overall around a 1.2. Aqua was at a 1.1, so you need those two players to really step up to slow down the pacing of Octane. And then obviously that last key to victory there, Paris just got to make sure that they focus up on their strategies in Search and Destroy. Obviously, they're looking really good in that game mode, but there's a lot of homework to be done. The only loss that they were able to take there was versus on standoff versus Optic, so it was really difficult for them to just try to make up plays on the fly, but their S&D is what's going to be able to push them through this series.
Without a doubt, my friend. Now our game field keys to victory here for the Seattle Surge come out strong in the opening hardpoint. They've been struggling in S&D this stage at 1-7, so winning that hardpoint is going to be crucial, especially against a team that, as we've said numerous times, has been great in the mode for Paris Legion. Octane as well needs to continue to be the beast we saw yesterday. Instead, he put up a 1.73 KD, went plus 40 versus the London Royal Ravens, and then finally iron out the respawn mistakes that they made in their last match versus Paris. As we talked about, this was kind of the game for both of these teams, the series rather, that ended out Stage 4. It was Paris who walked away with both of the hard points, and in those they were quite convincing. So that kind of gets us back to this conversation, Stud, about this game 1 hard point, how important it is to ensure that Seattle are able to walk away with it and continue what has been a great string of hard points for them, what has been a great mode for them so far throughout this stage.
Yeah, they need to take that opening hardpoint, man. We said it, their S&D struggles just haven't been there. You don't really want to rely on a game mode that you haven't been that good at all year. Control has been their worst game mode all year, even though they're starting to find some recent success. But we're going to take a look at the maps and modes on the series. I like Checkmate. I feel like when you talk about Checkmate for Seattle, they always put it at that map 4 slot, but they're going to change it up this time and start it with that map 1. You know, obviously having some confidence off of that win that they received yesterday versus London. But then it gets a little scary for me because Express S&D is a really good map for Seattle. That is their best search and destroy, and even in that map 4 raid hardpoint, they're sitting at 5-2 on the season. So I don't really understand the veto systems on the side of Paris, but they're probably going to try to prove me wrong, and I can't wait to see it.
That's the whole thing, right? We talked about laying. I think most people after day 1 of the Stage 4 major, everyone's pick'ems were just kind of thrown out the window. I think most people may be walking away with a victory. I had a lot of people tweeting me Stud and being like, I went 0 for 4 today, but I'm not mad because I kind of stuck by my prediction. So it is what it is. Like we said, man, when it comes down to land, so far from what we've learned at the Stage 4 major is to expect the unexpected. As now we will fly in for Checkmate Hardpoint to start off day 2. It is Paris Legion's first map, Surge their second series overall. And really, Stud, when we last saw the Seattle Surge, it felt like they were dominating on this very map and mode. Checkmate Hardpoint, they beat the Ravens on that 250-89. And what, man, I think Octane went like 33-19, something absurd like that. But we'll see if the Legion can potentially slow down what appears to be the momentum on the side of Surge as we head in toward P1 top lane.
That's a good way to start it. You're challenging out P1, you're able to get 2 kills, so now the aggression is going to be there, but 2 great nades from the Surge, able to slow down that push. Scraps is going to be aggressive and push towards that BS&D window. Now time is going in favor of Paris. The only thing that Seattle have to make sure that they're keeping in the back of their minds is not allowing Paris to try to flip these spawns. You see Temp still picking up a couple kills in towards this hard point. It's just a good job from the Surge, not giving up a complete 60, making sure that it's going to be a contest fest all the way down to the wire. But now with a couple players dropping on the backside, so yeah, number 5 is going to spawn out. So now this is the pressure that Paris are going to get real scary with. They're able to get 3 down and flip those spawns right at the end of that P1.
Yeah, Stud, and I think we can talk about it enough. Checkmate Hardpoint, getting that P2 rotation is so big on a map like Checkmate for those who maybe are watching for your first time, or maybe you only, check in on occasion. Well, hey, Checkmate Hardpoint, often P2 is that hill where you can gain so many seconds. So the fact that Legion looks so good in P1 now sets them up for even more success. Is off the rip, 4-3 from Temp, 3-1 for Scraps. I'll make it 4-1 for him, but now could be the chance for Octane to try and heat on up as Zaptius is able to handle them there. 1 player down. Orsini looking to try to make plays. It's a current 4 versus 3 in favor of Seattle. Paris players starting to spawn on out gunless from the flank, but it looks as if for the moment Legion hanging on. 25 seconds left, but Surge, they've now got the spawns in their favor.
Yeah, and if you're the Surge, you have to try to get this jug time immediately because they already flipped the spawn. So Paris Legion are going to be set up early for that P3. So at least you're able to get a good 20 seconds and not completely be out of this game right off the rip, as you see a couple players from Paris still contesting that P2, not allowing Surge to try to pick up on any of that junk time. Now it's all about setting up off that rotation. Octane's going to be here in a position. He takes down Temp. Going to have a good, huge engagement with Scraps, but he's going to drop. And once again, Paris Legion picking up a couple kills around this point. Should be fully set up if they eliminate these last couple players pushing out of yellow.
Yeah, instead, I got to say, like, we come into this series, you know, talking highly on the Seattle Surge, discussing that Paris, you know, their record so far throughout Stage 4 and Hardpoint, what, sits at 3-7. And it's kind of odd, right? Because I think we all know the talent that this Legion team has in a mode like Hardpoint, despite what the record indicates, because throughout the first 3 stages, this was the mode that this team relied on.
Yeah, it definitely was, man. This was that like momentum swing. If they started off a series hot, taking that first map, they usually went on to lose the S&D past tense, but with this new roster, they are able to put themselves up 2-0. Now they only rely on the control. That is where they need to put in work. They're basically 50-50 in that game mode, but their Hardpoint definitely has been pushing them through a lot of series.
Without a doubt, my friend, the current 79-20 game, as A Street will be where we head next, just behind good old Sam LaRue. Scene Classic look to try and combine for the final player on the point, that being Zaptius, and what a great kill that is. Octane as well gets dealt with, and that will be the point now in the hands of Legion, keeping in mind that based off of where they're at, based off map positioning, they are as well set up for P5. A lot of time still to go, but if you're Surge, you've got to make a run at either A Street or even P5. As Gunless looks to try and get the trades. It will in fact be Octane who stands tall toward the end. And the flip of the spawns actually do come in as well. So big situation in the game for Surge. A chain here would be great and obviously could get them back in the game.
Yeah, such huge plays right there to the Surge. Huge plays right there individually by Classic, winning those engagements towards playing. And then once that pinch came into the players pushing towards that point, once they chain those kills together, they're spawning all the way across the map. So Seattle are right back into this game. 10 seconds left on this P4 Hardpoint. They're going to be fully set up for that P5. They just have to keep track of Aqua, who's already off the rotation, trying to push up that left street. He's going to drop in. Eventually, that hill is going to swap out, and this is going to be an early setup for Seattle. Just to make sure you get someone in the hill. The pressure from Paris is going to come in from that left side as they try to flip, but early progression starting for Seattle, trying to get back into this game with some good time off P5. But 3 go down. It's all left up to Octane in the hill. You still have players spawning in the back. They just have to relieve this pressure from Paris.
Big team fight going in. Gunless work toward backwood. Odds and some issues now. Big 1v1 onto the point. Big battles going down. A Surge still with spawns. Verstini takes one off the rip, but again, a major fest. Contest fest battle happening so far at P5. Back and forth we go. So we'll go and step aside and go on into the listening with the Seattle Surge.
Nice. Do that. Another one under plane. You never killed Scraps.
Yeah, he's on you.
Seats.
Watch out.
Didn't get parallels.
Seats. I don't know where he went. Really, what seats?
Left wing.
I got stacks.
Alright, one's left.
Look at what's left. Can we push you left here, guys? Let's see they got top. I don't see they got top lane.
Oh, he's already zig.
Push you left. Good guy. Got him.
Nice.
I'm one here. One is top lane. Really big 2 nade.
I'm coming exit to you.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
You guys have.
I'm one. Good shit.
I'm premium hallway.
Push you guys.
Got a scratch set.
Up 2.
Donnie done right.
3. Look for 1. Look
Left
for
wing.
1.
One shot. Free kill. Free fucking kill.
That's out.
Free kill in the window.
I'm trying to push him. I have time. I'm coming here for us.
I'll see him left wing.
Holding right.
Top yellow dead.
Nice, you leave it.
I got a weaker time.
Left wing.
They're over from their side. Window. In the window. You always close to streaks. In the window. On A wing. Try to help one time.
Weaker time.
Alright, you always
Yuli one shot.
Alright, you always streaks.
He only got one.
Up weak. Zap absolute on time.
Yeah, Zap's left side.
That's one bullet on time. You push her side. Really big Scraps. 15 seconds, guys. Try to play through this time. Guys. Wait.
Head down.
Up 2. Good shit.
Our side time for sure.
I need a table.
Up 3. Good shit, Preston. Work the right. Work the right now. 4 seconds. We're on
Close
blue.
in blue.
Closest guy is going to be one person push up.
Absolutely right now.
Got back blue.
One's
Still inside blue. He's stuck inside blue.
Back to Zap 1 bullet.
Crossing.
Yeah, I'm pushing fucking P2.
Back blue. I think this guy's all the way back.
Grab on time. I don't think they got tube. Tube zap weak.
Tube and blue.
I'm dead.
Zap 2. I spawned in the back.
Donnie, watch out. Tube on the tail.
Yeah, I don't see the guy on the tail. Absolute. There's 2 there.
Yeah,
Another one there.
Donnie's in corner.
Back green.
Well, Stud, I'm not sure if there was a list in, or maybe if we didn't hear it. Regardless, I know we didn't get to hear it, maybe if the communication was going down for the Surge. But at the very least, what needs to be said right now for Seattle as they sit down by 60?
Yeah, well, you got to make sure that you're able to fight these spawns out the right way. Because right off the rip of that P2, right off the beginning, Paris was the team that had the spawns, and then eventually Seattle had to break in, but they broke in about the first 15 seconds, so they were able to get back into this game with some good jump time off of that P2. Now it's all about making sure that you're able to get out of this setup and not allow Paris to do a great job like they did last time on that P3. You see a couple of engagements going back and forth, but Seattle able to find two. Octane with the trade onto Zapti as the pressure is going to drop down from Temp. So far, no one dropping on towards this point. Eventually, Paris are going to be able to chain a couple kills together to get fully set up. Seattle trying to spawn out all towards yellow, trying to break out to make sure they try to put these spawns with P4.
Well, as we said, Paris Legion 152 to 114, firmly in the driver's seat for the moment, as bottom lane clearly controlled by them. And well, I mean, we came into this series talking about how Legion, just played Seattle Surge to close out stage 4. They did walk away with both of those hard points. One of them was, in fact, on checkmate. They won this one, I believe it was like 250 to 171, and I gotta say, Stud, it just does not look the same way that we saw from the Surge. This is why so many teams have talked about from the Legion side how they can just be such a lethal team. Octane has not had that same performance as he now sits on 4 in a row. That could be the spark, but it's just not looking to be the same that we saw yesterday versus the Ravens. Legion coming out early. Can the Surge start to rebound here now at Ace 3?
Yeah, and this is huge plays right here from the Surge because they were able to flip those spawns at the beginning of P4. So you see the time starting to go up for the Surge. They're only going to put themselves down by 50 points now. A huge engagement is going to be on this hill, and Gunless is going to be able to win it. The trades are going back and forth, and this is what Paris, they need to try to flip these spawns. That has to be your main focus. You cannot just flood up this right side alley. You need to spread map, have someone go around the left, try to play a pinch, because right now Seattle have them in a trap, and they're getting right back into this one. With 30 seconds left, they should be able to tie this game up if they hold the remaining time.
They're calling on the Surge to maybe perform. Prestini, a few extra bullets. Does enter into the 5-streak range, but later does get traded. Some great play coming out of Seattle to try and rally back to bring through this game. Again, it was a solid start for Legion in those first set of rotations. Surge had begun to woke up, is now in toward P5. Early player here was going to be Temp. Meanwhile, Octane sits toward top red. Bonds favoring the Surge as Legion look to try and make their way through no man's land at times. That right lane can feel like it's a lot of cover toward the plane, but it's a long stretch in order to get there as a few begin to line up now for Octane close range. That's going to be the force breeze. Surge look to continue the heat on up as this lead very well could start to change. All the Paris players are off spawn.
Yeah, and Octane's working towards some streaks. He's 30 and 19 on a 5 spree. These streaks can be massive if he can pick these up. As we're going to see a lead change right now. Seattle have brought themselves back into this game. That's 2 rotations where they were able to chain P4 to P5 to stay around still in this game. Paris Legion has to set up that rotation to P1. You see Octane is just going to take his time. Fortunately, not going to be able to close out on that kill as 2 players from Paris are able to pick up both. Scrap's going to hit a teammate, so there's only going to be 1 player left in that position, which is going to be Zaptius. But Octane, he's just focused on picking up these streaks. That's going to be another one down. Currently on a 6-3, working for that streak. He's going to know that Scraps is going to be back door. He's also going to dodge the nade. The guy is just a moving mechanic. He's on point right now. Great shots right there out of Octane to pick up that streak. Here comes the artillery. The lead swap is once in again. And Seattle, their main thing right now, because they cannot win off this, they have to try to flip these spawns. And you see their main focus as they're eliminating Temp. Aqua's going to be the only one on that side of the map.
Yeah, and because of these fights that were going down inside the middle plane, Paris were granted those spawns. Gunless spawns toward back red. Octane looks to try and enter onto the 8 streak, is able to grab it. So there's the 2nd streak. Despite what were a few problems throughout this P1, Seattle have righted the wrongs, as now that's going to be 9 in a row for Octane. They've also got the next spawn as well. 35 and 19. The spawns do flip, so keep that in mind. Paris now here. Back and forth we go, but Octane still does have that streak. It's just a matter of time before it does fly on in. This could be the moment for Legion. 11 points away for Surge to claim this game number 1. Everybody from the Legion trying to hold them off the best way that they can, but here comes the first streak. We'll see how much damage it can deal. Clearing out the spawn, but nothing really going down as of yet. 3 players now making their way toward the front side as one traded out overall. Here comes the cruise though from Octane. What can this do? Legion continue to pile on the points. They're still winning the fights. That's going to be one found onto Zaptius, but Aqua is going to find Octane. Meanwhile, it's Temp inside of the hill, dealing down the damage. 3 versus 1 onto the point. But Perstini's done such a great job. But Zaptius is going to trade it. Back and forth we go. Paris cannot win it here. They will have to go on the rotation. They have to get ready for next. Only 4 points away before this game is done, but Legion have done just enough at this necessary hill. Going toward next, a 5-point game as Octane falls. Paris, they're trying to win the fights. They have to get in the hill. Zaptius gets here in time, but it's classic. Nikki D seals the deal with the 1 versus 1. A crazy hardpoint that comes down to the wire, but once more it is Surge getting the job done in the end.
Man, what a hard point to start the day. Holy moly, I already feel the hairs on my arms starting to stand up. I can just tell today's about to be intense. What a game right there out of both teams. But Seattle showing that ice, fixing the mistakes from the last time that they played this map, is to make sure that they were able to get that P4 to P5, not once, but twice. So that was the changing moment of the game, that Seattle were able to bounce back and at least tie the game up there. But then Octane going on that 10 spree in towards P1, picking up those streaks with a lifesaver right there, because Paris were fully set up. They had the push out, they had the aggression, They had multiple layers of players where Seattle, if they tried to push up, they still would have that spawn in the back, even if Seattle players are picking up those kills. And with those streaks, it allowed them to at least take some cover, allowed his teammates to be a little bit more pushed up, and eventually closing out the map. Seattle, what a way to start the day, up 1-0.
38-24 from Octane.
I'm telling you, man.
6K damage. A wonderful game there for Sam LaRue, as he is the difference maker, leads the charge back to giving Surge that game number 1. Well, hey folks, now we head to a search and destroy. This one is going to be on Express. Make sure to stay with us as we'll be back with it right after this.
Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Presented by USAA Insurance, easy insurance for stuff in real life.
Alrighty folks, that is the perfect way to start the day. A close and nail-biting hardpoint all the way down to the wire. As like we said, Seattle, they get the job done. Octane Stud finishes 38-24. We were coming into this talking about, can Seattle continue to have this momentum? Granted, their most difficult hardpoint yet so far throughout the stage 4 major. But again, it's Sam LaRue, Octane going on for the team, and now he's put the Surge in a great position now coming into this S&D.
He definitely has, man, because they are up 1-0, and that was a little bit different when they ended that stage 4. Paris were able to take that opening hard point. So now they're going into a search and destroy on Express, where you just see the S&D stats on both teams. Octane currently sitting on 4th. The guy's unreal. He does it in every single game mode. But the good thing about it is that Paris Legion, their S&D recently throughout stage 4 has been great. They were 4-1. The only loss that they had was Optic on a map like Stando, so it's fairly new to them. But this needs to be the bounce back map, because for some reason, Seattle got their best search and destroy as map number 2.
Yeah.
So I think Paris were banking on taking that map number 1 to at least have them have that game 5 in their back pocket. But Express is going to be one of their best search and destroy, sitting on 4-1 in the season. Paris on 2-2. So this is going to be really difficult for Paris. Obviously, they did not have the momentum that they thought they would after that first map, but they need to have a strong bounce back here.
Yeah, and we talked about, the Seattle Surge. Again, as you mentioned, Express, this is one that they like a lot. I think they're 4-1 on this throughout the entirety of the season. And I guess in comparison to the other Search and Destroy maps, like, what do you think maybe allows for the Surge to prefer this map versus others? Like, why is Express the one that works out so well for them?
I think it's because the playmaking ability of his submachine guns. Because, like, we see the way that Toronto like to play it. Cammy's always that guy that's going to be catwalk steps, hitting a late flank.
Yeah.
And that's something that Pristini is really good at doing. And that's what allows him to just be this playmaker on this map. He doesn't have to fairly play with his team all the time, but majority of the time, the guy's going to be the island player trying to open up with the first blow, or at least putting himself in a position to at least cause problems on the opposite side for the other team. So that's why I feel like Seattle really liked this map, because their SMGs can really make plays individually.
Yeah, I know this is, I believe, the first time that Seattle have played Express throughout Stage 4. Reason being, teams have realized, hey, they're pretty good at this map. Let's probably not try and do that. But already into the first round, and based off of the initial look, Paris and 3 strong toward A, while Aqua looks towards center. And if you're a Paris player, you're thinking, okay, nothing yet, no information, no real signs of utility either. And that could start to settle in some doubt on whether or not this A push was in fact the right decision. Gunless found, and now it's a quick 2 versus 1 advantage inside of that B point, as Aqua is going to remain for the first blood. A nice job there from Pristini to cut him down. And now with that, Seattle have full site control.
Yeah, so now it's going to be a bomb play. You see number 6 and Pristini. He's just trying to be a playmaker, catch a couple players off the rotation, and he's able to take down Temp. Now it turns it into a 4v2. He knows that they have full control of the opponent's base, that it can only come from flank or the middle of the map. So you're going to see all the players turning their arrows. Classic able to take down 1. Good team shots onto the last player. And just such a great round right there out of the Surge. They played it nice and patient. They soloed out that individual player in Aqua at that B bomb. Gunless with great comms, knowing that the push was going to come through lower lockers. They should immediately pick up that kill, work the bomb plant, play their numbers right, and eventually walk away with the win. Good round right there out of the Surge.
I think that was basically a perfect definition coming into this game stuff. We said, or you mentioned, the reason why Seattle liked this map is because of the playmaking opportunity for the Surge. And we see, both the SMGs, they walk away with 3 out of those 4 kills. Pristini doing the work up close, walking away with that first blood. As you can see, Seattle feeling confident into the first round, but now it's the attacking opportunity. The first one here for the Legion. There will be another attempt over at B, as Octane with the team shots are able to drop scraps for the first. Bomb plant still goes down, but Zaptius not too comfortable with it as he gets taken down as well. Multiple headshots, multiple kills. The Surge pretty much, no pun intended, surge onto the site, and they made that one look quick.
Yeah, this is a good first blood right here from Octane. Like, if he doesn't win this engagement right there, he doesn't allow his submachine guns to push out and be aggressive. And this is such a great opening play. Just back down, give them the bomb site, thinking that Paris probably thought, hey, we got full B bomb control. Eventually, we're going to be able to work this bomb plant. But Seattle, they take their time. They rewrap through their back base and eventually open up the first blood. Another clean round right there out of Seattle. Not a single player has died in the last 2 rounds. So for Seattle, they're answering the call and search and destroy early.
And one thing that was kind of odd, too, for Paris to not only play Express Search Destroy, considering it's Seattle's best, you also have not played it in Stage 4 either. As yet again, another first blood for the Surge is going to be the team shots once again in for Seattle, favoring them. Scraps quickly left in a 1 versus 3. As these last 3 rounds just seem to be going by so quick once the Surge have the numbers. And they've got it yet again, but just kind of getting back to that side, like I said, it's unfortunate because this Paris team has not played this in a good month, yet they're also playing arguably one of the best teams in this particular map and mode combination off of the Hardpoint loss. Just continues to reiterate how important that checkmate really was.
Yeah, checkmate was really important for Paris because, like I said, I don't know how they let this map slip through. This has been Seattle's best search and destroy. You see already in these early rounds, Seattle is just dominating. Everybody's on a spree. Gunless is the only player to drop once, and what they're doing so well is just making sure that they're opening up with first bloods and then just playing their numbers correctly. They're just playing the trades the right way, and so far Seattle are coming out on top. This time, Paris are going to be a little bit more aggressive towards bottom lockers, trying to take control of that A bomb. They do have some trophy systems to work with, but once they blow this one up, they're going to give up that position as Zapdius is going to slide to bomb. He thinks he has a free bomb plant, but here comes Classic.
Wow.
Off the rotation, able to take him down, make it another first blood for the Surge.
4 straight first bloods for Seattle as Aqua thankfully is able to return with a nade of his own, but once more, it is a 1 versus 3. As Aqua gets picked off from Octane. Beast is able to shut down one for the moment as Scraps tries to squeak away and makes his way into the locker room. Now versus Gunless and Prestini. They're trying to read his position. Somewhat aware of where he is, but has he snuck around and made the play? Again, he does have the bomb. 30 seconds on the clock. If he did make the rotation toward B, he would have a free bomb, but maybe thinking that, hey, Seattle surely have gone for the rotation. They haven't seen me, but now visuals gained. Maybe, maybe not. Prestini does see him, and he's there for the beatdown. Surge, 4 up and 4 down.
Just another clean round right there to the Surge. Classic did exactly what he needed to do for the team, which is take that guy off bomb plant. But on the opposite side of the map, it was a huge one-on-one engagement between Prestini and Temp, and Prestini came out on top, man. Eventually, once he wins that gunfight, he knows no players are going to be setting up for the pinch. Now I can get back to my teammates and eventually work the map together, and that was just another great round right there to the Surge. This has been great search and destroy from this team. A good bounce back answer because Stage 4, it just hasn't been their best game mode.
It is not, but you wouldn't be able to tell that. Again, Express continuing to favor Seattle as we have 3 kills for Paris in a total of 4 rounds. Something has got to give. Something has to give, stud. We'll see what the Legion can do. I know we talked about swing rounds. This is one if you're, I mean, you just have to win. You have to win this if you're Paris. You cannot go down 5-0 with a team that is feeling as good as they are. And you see all 4 of the Paris players in Legion indeed. Looking for the synchronization. Can they find the first blood? At least the trophy's nice. The nade could cause some problems, but it's Prestini on the flank who finds a few. And with that, it's into the 2 versus 2. Tip and Scraps. Tip instantly has to gain the call, and now it's Scraps once more, left by himself. Time ticking away at the bomb. Tries to find the first, is able to do that, but he's got so much more work to do. As long as Octane can stay alive, this will be his round, and you bet it will be. Octane finds the kill, secures the round, and Surge now sit on a 5-0 advantage. This has been absolutely clinical. This is really where it all blew up, no pun intended, stud. Prestini inside of the train, totally catching the Paris players off guard as all 4 of them were there, but nobody could do anything about Prestini.
This is just flawless search and destroy, man. Every single round has been a complete blind counter to Paris Legion. You could just tell Seattle came in with the game plan to completely counter Paris, and it is working out so far. Unless Paris Legion are able to pull off full cell V2, Seattle Surge should be looking at a 2-0 in this series, but early aggression coming in from Paris from the middle of the map. They're able to actually change the game this time and open up with their own first blood. Now they have the man advantage in the 3v1 situation.
Look at that. They've done it, stud. This should be theirs.
There you go.
Finally, after 6 rounds, maybe Paris have finally woken up. And Classic now left in the 1 versus 3. He gets picked off, and there we have it. Legion are at least able to get 1 on the board, and I don't know, so like, how much of an advantage do you think that Seattle have coming into this series? And I know that we're into the search and destroy already, but how much of an advantage do you have if you've already played on the stage and in comparison to Paris, which this is their first time on land in a while? How much of an advantage is that, you think, towards Seattle?
Honestly, it's a big thing, man, because when you trust that main stage, you get the feeling, and especially picking up the win like Seattle did yesterday, you can tell that they're really confident, you know? Like, sitting up on that stage, there's a lot of players out there who can just get that early jitters of being back on the main stage. It's been almost 2 years since the last time these guys were sitting across the stage from each other. So, for players like Zapdius, you know, who's fairly making his debut, I know he's played recently on land, but not at this level. So he has to try to kick up and Temp early with that first blood. Puts another first blood, at least the advantage now going into Paris. But Octane able to take down Zapdius. Classic onto Aqua. As soon as that man advantage went to Paris, Seattle able to answer and make it their own. 3v2 in favor of Seattle.
Just seems to be the problem. Like, be Legion for a moment, have a sign of life, and then Surge are just there to rip it right out from underneath them. Very well could be our final round of the game. One of the more dominant S&Ds and Express that we've seen, but Temp trying to extend it for as long as possible. Shuts down Classic on the flank and also has some words for Octane as that'll be 3. Donnie Temp trying to wake up the Legion a little bit as that's 2 in a row for them.
Okay, so you see the success story right now for Paris. That's 2 rounds in a row. What they opened up with that opening first blood, they secured it. So that has to be their objective now. To just play slow, try to catch Seattle a little bit more aggressive than they should be. Try to pick them apart single-handedly. You cannot keep playing into their game and getting called out. So you want to be able to spread map here. If you're going to match that aggression, this is something that they have to do quickly. So Paris Legion, they're still in this game. Temp is on a 4 spree. The aggression is going to come in towards lower B, and this is a complete blind counter. This is going to be great, but some early shots coming in from Temp, trying to pick up some wall bang information. He's going to give a full mid-map control Seattle and Pristini with another first blood.
And that's a big win for Pristini because now we've got the lane through middle tracks. One visual you don't have if you're Legion, and Scraps left in a pretty awkward spot. He has to try to make his way out. Pristini does dip his way through, and Scraps is just trying to stay alive. Can he take one with him? Not going to be the case. And Temp's not going to be able to escape either. That's a huge kill for Gunless, as they read the rotation, and now it's all on to Aqua in the 1 versus 3. Did he pull off the incredible? Pretty much the improbable. Aims Gunless for the first. Instantly tried to challenge on a classic. Has a few nades, but that one will call it to a close. Seattle Surge answer in the Express S&D. Go up 5-0. At times, for the later stages, we had a little bit of hope for Legion, but this was always going to go the way of the Surge. Another great performance on Express.
Just such a great early start, man. They opened up in 5 straight. Like, it's impossible for a team to build that momentum, build that confidence, and try to fight back into that one. Paris, they were able to chain 2 rounds together, but Seattle, they always had the game plan, and it was executed perfectly. Every single round was a blind counter. When Paris thought that they had an opening, there were a couple players from Seattle to just be there and cause problems. Like Pristini being that island player, winning huge one-on-one engagements across the map was such a big key. Getting multiple first bloods on the map was another big key because they were just playing their numbers correctly after they had that advantage. Seattle just made tremendous improvements in Search and Destroy, at least based off of that game. And now they find themselves up 2-0 in the series, man. They're relying on their worst game mode to close it out in the 3-0 fashion. Hopefully Paris are able to answer back and take this one.
Yeah, and that's a hard blow. Again, we continue to talk about that checkpoint Hardpoint, how important it was coming into this series for the Legion. And as we said, this one just does not start off close. And from there, Seattle, just a matter of time before they found that 6th and final round. As Joey Nubsy looks to be giving some tips to Octane, says your aim was pretty good. Wasn't the best, but you never know. You can learn a few things from me. But no, we're going to go and take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play. And of course, it's coming from the guy that we cannot talk enough about. It is the human turret, good old Octane.
Yeah, so this is the round where it's a 4v4 situation in Paris. They were late to that A-bomb. It was a free A-bomb plant. This is where Pristini was able to find that 2-piece through the middle of the plane. And then eventually he gets traded out. And then at that point, it's a 2v2. But Octane, he does such a great job right here of just putting out some early shots and just waiting for his teammate in Gunless. He knows that they have the man advantage, as a 2v1 is going to be a lot better than a 1v1. So eventually, it's all about playing the clock from this point on. Scraps is able to pick up that 1 kill. But you see, there's only 9 seconds left. You have to find this kill onto Octane and then eventually defuse that bomb. And Octane knew. Just way too much. There's not that much time on the clock. He played it perfectly and was able to clutch up the round for his team.
There we look at it. Octane, a 1.7 KD so far throughout this series. Didn't think that he can improve on it, but he's on the same pace that he was yesterday versus the Ravens. Can this one be a 3-0, or will the Legion answer in control? You're watching the Call of Duty League Stage 4 Major.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Pre-order the new Courageous Sherbet flavor now on GameFuel.com while supplies last. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Sign up for the official Call of Duty League emails and get the exclusive Send It calling card. Scan the QR code on your screen, enter your info, and you'll get a free code for the calling card. You cannot get this calling card anywhere else. It's available at Black Ops Cold War and Warzone. So many awesome things that the team is working on. We got Send It. I know we had Dragons coming out. All kinds of wonderful calling cards. You guys can feel free to decorate your setup in a number of different ways, whether it's camos, calling cards, everything. A number of different ways to win. As so far for the Surge, they have stayed winning. This team has been looking so good so far. So far throughout this stage 4 major, that we noticed the KDs. I gotta go point it out, man. 1.07 to a 1.73. I hate to be the number 1 member on the Octane fan club, but it's hard to avoid with those numbers.
Yeah, it's hard, man. The guy jumped up. It's basically 0.7. Like, that's insane from him. But you can just see, like, this is a team full of veterans. This is what they live for. Online for them recently just hasn't been it. All year, actually. They're sitting dead last in CDL points, but on LAN, so far, this team is looking completely different. Everybody is stepping up in that slaying department. Classic still staying around that dead even, but everyone is starting to play better, and it's been showing, at least in their last 2 matches. So far today, Octane having himself another wonderful day. Pristini stepping up in that search and destroy, and now they're up 2 on the series, going into another map on Garrison, where they recently just played Paris, and they were able to win it, even in the loss at the end of stage 4. So this is something that they're really confident in. Last time we were looking at the stats, for Surge, it was Gunless who really took off. He was 38 and 22 with a 1.7 KD. Paris, you need to shut that guy down. You cannot allow for one of these guys to go off, because so far that has been the answer to end this series.
Yeah, man. And as we took a quick little gander there at the quickscope presented by Scuff, I mean, as we said, control has been good for both of these teams. Whenever they faced off, as you mentioned, it was the Gunless show. It was the gun show, as we like to say on Gary, but so, as we take a quick look at Legion potentially for the final time on that stage, as we're already here, the team has to be prepared coming into this. How do they do this, my friend? Like I said, how do they do it on Garrison? How do you want to see them try and combat what has been just a frenzy? What is a number of different things? Momentum on the side of Seattle. How do you want to see Legion and come out and take this?
It's when I go home, man. You need to have one player to absolutely go off and really set the tempo, at least early into this game. So far, Octane has been having his way in the respawn, at least based off of that first hardpoint. So you need to have someone to shut him down. Early into that hardpoint, Scraps and Aqua were doing a great job. Scraps was sitting at 17 and 11 at a point. But then towards the later half of that game is when he pulled up the stat line. He was 21 and 20. So he went on kind of a death spree there, and you cannot allow that to happen. You need to keep that hot foot the entire game.
Got it down, Legion already in a win or go home situation as we head in toward Garrison. Seattle Surge starting on the attack as we look through the eyes of Nicky D. His teammates finding a few early kills. Gets the visuals on to Zaptius, then challenges over at Aqua, who remains at the other side of the map. Back and forth we go. Legion with a good answer early, and so it's just a matter of Paris coming out, just trying to get involved early. Granted, you are going to be starting on the defensive end, so you're already in a more preferred spot. With that, it's just trying to, get those guns warm, and so far Zaptius is doing that, sitting at 3-1 after the death. As it will be now Seattle making their way toward B.
Yeah, now Seattle winning a couple engagements, so now the pressure's going to come in. They're actually going to go quick because they have a couple players on this B point. It's actually going to be 3. Classic trying to push out towards the back, but this is going to be a triple nade. Temp with 1. He's actually able to take down 2, but Gunless with the trade. Wow. Now him is able to get a zone 2 piece of his own. And now that B point is almost done to being secured. Gunless still winning huge one-on-one engagements the entire time. Great jobs out of Big P to just hold down this B point this entire time. Basically solo cap it. And now time is going to extend by a minute. Zaptius is able to pick up 2, but you see Pristini starting to work up towards that end of bricks and cause problems for Paris.
And we're just seeing the signs of it, man. We're seeing the signs of this Seattle team that to start off this year, everybody was hyped about. Everybody was hyped to see Octane and Gunless on the same roster, what that AR duo can really try and provide. And I know, so far throughout the season online, it really has not been there for them, but we've seen Octane so far throughout LAN. Just little spurts like that, you can see the talent of this roster has in their midst as Aqua was able to make quick work of them. And we cannot express how difficult that can be, but as we said, Seattle walk away with that B point early, and now they put themselves in a great spot. Zaptius is there for the trade. They're getting 3 wins in a row for this Seattle roster. This would be big for Paris to take this defensive round, get some momentum under themselves. So far, they've been holding this one well. Minute left on the clock.
And all the Surge know that they have to try to put this pressure onto Bricks and Lights. Temp is able to take down 1. To try to go for the second on and proceed, and that's a huge 2-piece from Temp. Make it 3, make it 4. Donnie Temp on a 4 spree, able to eliminate all players from the Surge from this middle map. It's basically going to allow his teammates to now get pushed up, try to play a little bit more aggressive. Classic able to shut down at least 1, Pristini with the second. So now if you're Temp, you have to try to slow down, but he's not trying to do that. On a 5 spree, Scraps picking up another 2 across the map. They know that time is starting to wind down, and it's time to put on the pressure as Temp can pick up some early streaks going into that next round.
This would be big. He finds himself on the flank. That's going to be his 6th there on to Gunless. He's going to set himself firmly inside of the spawn, playing for the streaks, and well sought after. It's a big win there for Gunless, but nonetheless, this is not going to be a round it favors the Surge, at least you'd like to think. Pristini able to delay things for the moment.
They can get this done.
Have the opportunity to. Paris now in a good spot. 3 versus 1. Last player is going to be Gunless. Granted, he's done this in S&D, but can he do it in control? They start to line up for a moment. Paris, well, it was a very slim margin in terms of the lives, are able to hold off what was an onslaught to start. Gunless took over to start off this round, but instead it's fair to say Temp, he picked up on the other side for Legion.
Yeah, this is a great play by Temp right here because obviously 2 of his teammates dropped before that happened. So him picking up that 2-piece and then eventually getting another 2 to complete the 4 allowed his teammates to get a little bit more aggressive. It's unfortunate that he wasn't able to pick up those streaks because they could have definitely been impactful towards the later stages of this game. They're able to walk away with the defense. Seattle now have to try to clutch up. Octane. So far, Paris Legion are containing him as he's sitting at double negative. We know that offense is a lot harder to come out on top of, so defense is going to be the preferred side. You're going to have 2 players from Surge fighting for that top green and 1 player sneaking through on the ground. So the pressure is all over the middle map, and this allows Scraps to turn his head. Fortunately, he's going to get dropped, and that's going to be 3 players from Paris now coming off spawn.
And just what a sequence it could have been, right? Zaptius, a great play there on the flank, and his teammates just win a few of the fights toward the front side. That very well could be 1 tick, if not 2 ticks. Whew. Pristini, I think he's, 3-0 so far in knockouts? Nobody can take this guy down. Fists of Fury on land. But again, we just continue to request upon the Legion. Slang has to be there. It looks so good to start off that hardpoint. We know the talent that this roster has. Like we said, I think at almost every point, I mean, we talk about Aqua, Temp, and Scraps. I think at some point throughout the last few titles, all of these guys have been in that top 5, top 3 conversation for one of the best players, one of the best slayers in the world.
Yeah, because I remember Temp back in Black Ops 4. He's basically an MVP candidate. The guy was unreal. And then Aqua, at the beginning stages of this game, he was really starting to find this form. I feel like I haven't seen him play like that since Black Ops 3. And then obviously Scraps, he's just been a torment ever since he's entered the CDO. Whatever team he's on, he's always going to put up some insane stats. So just having these 3 core players on your roster, you can definitely expect some great outcomes. Right now, they find themselves in a position where they have to hop this B point. Time is starting to tick. A trade is going to come in, but this is going to allow Scraps to come up behind this player in lights and now keep that time from clicking all the way down, as now they're starting to get some aggression towards this B point.
Aqua does get a little bit aggressive. Does that come back to bite the Paris Legion as Classic makes his way inside a light? Running out of ammo with Scraps, but Classic does in fact get traded out. Back and forth we go. Legion hanging on. 2.4 seconds on the clock. 2 players inside of the point as Pristini gets dropped as well. Octane once more there for the trade, and Seattle will go ahead and wave the white flag. Say, okay, you did what you had to. You gained that first point. Definitely got a little bit scary, but just once again, Legion showing us the talent that they have, the ability to turn it on from time to time. As Octane does unfortunately take down Pristini, that will free up a lane now for Zaptius to hop here over at A. The longer amount of time that you can delay, the better. The nade comes in, dropping the first layer of Legion players as they look to set up a push inside of green.
Yeah, so once Zaptius dropped right there, you saw that push from green get immediately shut down. So now they know that they have to work through the middle of the map. And basically, Paris have 1 to probably 2 good pushes to try to break on into this. So it's all going to start with these engagements. Can they pick up a couple kills in sync? Force those players from Seattle to spawn out towards back tank. The first one's going to come in from inner bigs. Zaptius is going to slide in. Classic's actually going to nade himself. Pristini's going to get traded. So they had the man advantage for this challenge. You're going to see top green slowly but surely eventually going to put the pressure on. Gunless is able to win a huge engagement. Temp on the backside trying to set up for some spawn kills. But Seattle are able to shut down that push, taking 3 players down. Only 1 player still in the position to try to get on this point is Aqua. But you see Gunless in the position to just cut these players off. Paris have no more respawns. This round should definitely go in favor of the Surge.
Yeah, it's going to go in favor of the Surge, and that one has to hurt, right? I mean, that's going to be a game, you know, whether or not Paris survives this series or not, that they're going to look back at in terms of the VOD and just be like, guys, we threw that away. Like, we had some opportunities. There were 2 team kills where there was a lane open. You had Temp there on the flank. If he's able to win a few of those fights, at least to diminish things from the back, players when the engagement's over at the final point, things very well could have been different. A near huge attacking round for the Paris Legion now goes the opposite way, and now we find ourselves at 1-1. Take a look at the scorecard. You know, nothing too crazy, but again, cannot get away from Temp so far. 17-9, doing everything he can to keep this team alive. And I feel like I said often when we've gone to the comms, we've gone to those Astro listings, Temp has been the guy leading the comms, and I think it's fair to say he's kind of become that leader, vocal leader, however you want to express it, that hype man for this Paris group.
He really has, man. I love listening to Temp and those listeners, man, because he just brings that energy. And obviously, you need it now more than ever as you're down 0-2 on the brink of being eliminated and going home with nothing in your pocket. So he's going to try to step up in this big moment as he's sitting at 18-19, still picking up a couple kills. They were able to find 2, and now that forces a couple players from Seattle to spawn up off spawn. So that's going to allow his teammates to try to get more pushed up. But Octane with some great shots, able to take down 2 players. Now that allows his teammates to start to get a little bit more aggressive up towards the B point. Challenges are both going to come in with Paris, slowing down that push, slowing down the pressure as they find 2 of their own.
Octane just continues to mow him down through middle. That's now going to be 4 in a row for him. Your Legion, you kind of have to, in some ways, try and prioritize where Octane is and kind of living up to his name, Century Sam. We're going to call him that from now on, as he does finally get picked off. Does free up in a few moments there for the Surge to try and muscle their way into either A or B. But as they try and do that, door shut right in their face. Gunless picking up from where Octane left off. Big 1v1, and Scraps is able to take it.
Yeah, so now that all the focus for Paris Legion is over towards this A point, so now that's going to open up B point for Seattle. But here comes Zaptius on the rotation through lights. He has a huge one-on-one engagement from Pristini because 2 of his players actually just dropped. So the pinch comes in, and this should be a B capture as the first tick is about to come in. Paris do have the live advantage, but with 20 seconds left, they might just chalk it and just play that A site by itself. Gunless still picking up a couple kills toward the middle of the map. The ARs are really starting to step up in the later half of this game. Gunless is going to be 2 in a row, make it 3 as he's currently sitting on a 3-speed, working towards some streaks. B point eventually going to be captured. A minute going to be extended on the clock for Seattle.
We'll see what Surge can do with this 80 seconds. Paris look to try and get set up. Get somewhat of a visual. Scraps somewhat found out, but it's Aqua finally getting going in this game. He's able to take down 2 before he heads toward the respawn screen. And that will be the first wave shut down. Paris instantly off of that. We'll try to push their way forward, but take a look at Classic. He's found himself in a pretty good spot. That will be the SMGs. Now putting some pressure on the side of Paris, and that could be the stack. They've got 3, 4 players around the point. Legion, they've got to get here quick. They've got to get here soon. By no means are life count the problem. They've got players coming in from every angle, but no one is in position to get to the point. And so based off the SMGs, based off the fights that they're able to win, that sets themselves up for a quick little stack. And we know that stacking in Control Stud, you can get that point so quick. Surge putting that on full display.
Yeah, so right there, Paris, they were able to get 3 kills, and they thought that they eliminated every single player from their base. But Classic, he did such a great job at fully wrapping around the backside, sitting himself in the corner and not contesting that point because he knew the engagements, or at least the enemies on the side of the Surge, of Paris Legion, were going to be towards that top green area. So once Pristini won that one-on-one engagement, he knows that he has full bricks control. It allows his teammates to just flood out of top green. And that's just something that Paris Legion, they cannot allow to happen. Letting that player slip through is the reason why they just lost that round, and now they have the potential to go home as they are going to find themselves on another offense. It's not easy to win this, especially with Classic open up with that first blood.
And I'll pose the question to you. On attack, you're down 2-1 already. You're put in a position, if you're Legion, where Surge, they're heating up. They're looking good. You're one round away from elimination. What needs to be said? What has to be done at this moment for Legion to at least send us to a round 5?
Honestly, it's win or go home, man. You have to play flawless control game from here on out. And just that last round is going to be lingering in the back of their mind. They just have to be able to let it go and just focus on the task at hand. And they're still trying to force us to that round number 5. As you see a couple kills going back and forth. Octane able to find 2. Octane able to find 3. Up close and personal with that AR is going to put them on a 5 spree. And with 30 seconds left, Paris now have to fight out of their spawn.
And this is not going to be easy. 25 seconds left. You've yet to even see the point. It feels like Aqua finally able to shut down Octane, but you see Surge set up in such a great position through middle. This time, it's gunless. Really, the only player that's pushed up right now is going to be Scraps inside of the point, doing everything he can just to keep Legion's hope alive. The last few rounds, we've seen kind of late game heroics over at this B point, but continually, players are starting to fall. The trades favoring the Surge so far, but Content be the man. It's he and Scraps off of spawn that are trying to do everything that's possible. Classic and Octane are there for the trade. Get anybody for the Legion. Get to the point in time with a few seconds left. That Surge walking away with a 3-0 victory. Solid from start to finish, as this team does not seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
Oh man, Seattle on LAN are the real deal Holyfield. They make that series look easy. Such an insane first hardpoint to start the day. Then they clutch up in the search and destroy in a dominant fashion, winning that 6-2. But then right there in that map at number 3, Paris had the opportunity to force it to a round number 5. They just let Classic slip through. And that's the thing about Seattle, is that they have these SMG players who can be playmakers. Pristini in the search and destroy, Classic in the respawns. If Classic doesn't make that play happen, then they would lose that round. But they're clutching up, fixing these little mistakes from the last series, and they were able to get the sweep, man. Seattle are looking real good at this major so far.
And Stud, we came into this LAN talking, a number of different things about the Surge. We talked about their search destroy. We talked about their control. They win both of them here. They win the 6-2 on Express, and now that's going to be their 4th control win in a row. This team, as we said, a lot of the issues, a lot of the minor problems that they had to fix coming into LAN so far throughout these first 2 series don't look like too much of an issue.
Yeah, they're finding success in that game mode and control, man. The only maps that they, on this 4 spree, they have won 2 checkmates and 2 garrisons. Obviously, they don't like raid, so they just have to keep this in the formula. And just having those 2 maps underneath your belt, the way that they have been playing ever since they have entered the building, it's a totally different vibe, a totally different energy. And even you heard Joey Nubsy in his interview earlier with Jess, he can just tell that the team is a lot more confident, and it has been showing so far throughout the major.
Yeah, he said we're a totally different team, a totally different roster, and again, from online to LAN, this team just looks like a different team right now, fixing the issues, righting the wrongs, and I guess it's a good comparison because, as we said, the last match that both of these teams played, Seattle and Paris, were versus each other. It was a 3-1 win for Paris, where the hard points were not close. The S&D also went inside of the Paris camp, and this time around, again, it's a totally different story from a 3-1 loss now to a 3-0 victory. A major dub here for Surge, and I guess that from more of a general side of things, what do you think has been the biggest difference maker? Has it been Octane's playmaking? Is it just the freedom that this team feels? Is it control? What do you think is the biggest changeup that you've noticed from this team in regards to online to LAN?
It has to be their control game, because online they couldn't win it. They could not win it. They were sitting at 5-19 throughout the entire season, but ever since entering on LAN, at least the 2 underneath their belt, they've done it in a dominant fashion. They're looking a lot better in these respawns. Octane's obviously putting up some insane stats. You have Gunless, who's playing a lot better. Pristini, who's playing a lot more consistent. I just think, like you said, man, ever since entering LAN, they're a lot more confident, and it's just really scary for all these other teams, because if Seattle's playing this good, you can just tell. They were the worst team in the CDL, so their confidence was really low. But them having these 2 series underneath their belt on the main stage, it might change the story for these guys going into the end of the year.
Yeah, it absolutely can, and I know we'll take a look at our scuff play of the game, and I guess we could kind of say too, like in regards to Seattle, the big thing with their control, as we discussed, was a matter of like you couldn't rely on it at all. So it's like if you lost either the Hardpoint or the S&D, you were always going to come into that game for, if you even made it there, down 1-2 or either down 0-2. Like I said, newfound confidence for this team. But as we said, for our U.S. Army tactical play, as we've said throughout this series, and now for our scuff play of the game, Octane, Octane, Octane.
Up close and personal, man, with that AR. The guy can do it all, and that's what he is known for. With that assault rifle, he's winning engagements that you don't think any assault rifle player should do. But that is what makes Octane Octane. The great player that he is, the assault rifle player for the history of COD. He's just a great player, and it definitely has showed, at least so far in their last 2 matches.
Yeah, man. And as we take a look at our bracket now, as we said, Surge, they found 2, and now that's going to set up a Surge v Optic battle. And I feel like so far throughout the entirety of the season so far, Stud, it's been Optic who's beat up on Surge a decent amount of times, but in that last series that these teams had versus each other, well, man, it was a Game 5 win for Surge.
Yeah, it was, man. And the way that Optic, at least from the Optic that we all know, when they lose a series like the way that they lost it versus the Empire, they always bounce back a lot stronger. The only thing is they're going up against a Surge team who are back-to-back wins just looking dominant. So that's going to be a great matchup between both of those teams once again.
And if you're Optic, I mean, how do you slow down this team? I mean, from what we've been able to watch so far from Seattle, how do you slow down a roster like this?
Well, you need your AR players to show up, man. You need Formo, you need Dashy, because they started off hot yesterday in that series versus the Empire, but towards the later stages of the game is when they really started to slow down, and that's where you saw the SMG duo really take over the game. If those assault rifle players on the side of Optic aren't playing well, it's going to be really difficult for them to try to contain the player that Octane has become on LAN. 1.7s in the last 2 series. That's insane.
Well, we talked about the ARs. We also got to give some love to the SMGs. A full team effort once more from the Seattle Surge. And I believe Jess is joined alongside by one of the SMGs from Seattle. She sits now with Prestini.
Thank you so much, Lando. That's right. We've got Prestini for our Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. I mean, you guys are back on LAN. You are tearing it up. Vibe check. How good is it to be back on LAN, and how, like, it's clearly reflected in your gameplay. How much of that is because we're back on LAN?
Listen, I think online the vibes are just shot. You know, online is tough. You know, on even playing fields. So getting to LAN, I think all of us are motivated. Even playing field is much easier for us. So LAN just comes naturally. So I think it just boosted our morale and gave us confidence, and hopefully we can make a run with it.
I also have to ask you about your teammate Octane, the human turret. I mean, what is going on with him lately?
He's been frying for like the past month and a half like he used to, but damn, on LAN he's taking it to another level, man. This guy is impressing me. So it's good to see old human turret back in action.
It's definitely fun to watch. So you guys are on your way to making this really nice lower bracket run. Next up, you are going to be facing Optic, and I mean, they looked very beatable the other day. Was there anything, though, that you saw in their gameplay that could indicate that Optic might put a stop to your lower bracket run?
Yeah, definitely going into this, I think we're confident because, especially coming off of like them being like our only online win, going into LAN, I think we match up well against them. It's going to be a good match on LAN for sure. I think we're more confident now, so hopefully we take it a little bit easier. But you know, it's Optic. These are the best players in the world, so it's going to be a tough matchup. But I'm excited for it.
Well, it's going to be an exciting match to watch no matter what. Thank you so much, Lando. Back over to you.
Much, Jess. Yes, a solid win there for the Surge. And biggest quote that I take away from that one is LAN comes naturally. 2 straight wins for Seattle, as we're only just 1 series through so far throughout the day. We still got 3 excellent games still to go, and to break down what we just saw and to break down what we still have up here for day 2 at our stage 4 major, it is Lottie and Nameless on the desk. Fire coming in, but can Prestini win the 2? No. He does. That's 3 straight.
He's trying to get out there. He challenges and he wins it. Behind a classic. Trying to line him up. In the final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunless absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them.
249.